I swear, sometimes I learn more on TikTok than I did in medical school. Dr. Brooke here. This is Cook with Dr. Brooke, where we talk about the connection between nutrition and mental health outcomes. I was on the internet the other day, kind of scrolling and looking through comments, and I saw somebody mentioned in a comment, well, saffron is supposed to be a very powerful antidepressant. And I went, that's not something that I know about. I am a psychiatrist. I have extra training in nutrition. I talk about it on the internet. And so I did a little bit of digging, and I found some older studies that looked at saffron as an antidepressant. I found this one is a little more recent, 2018, I believe, kind of summarizing all of those studies and talking about the different physiology of how saffron might work in the body as an antidepressant. I was struck by a few things. One is that there seems to be some truth to this. The high doses of the saffron kind of compounds that they isolated and administered to people, those outperformed placebo. They also did about as well as fluoxetine or Prozac and imipramine, which is an older antidepressant that we still sometimes use. It did fairly well in these trials. However, the other thing that struck me is people are getting like big doses of saffron. Saffron is kind of notoriously super duper expensive. It's like the most expensive spice that you can buy in the grocery store. It's something that is not going to be readily usable or accessible for most of my patients. Even for me as like an employed physician, I got a lot of loans to pay off. I get saffron almost never. I got it as a gift once, so I think I do have some in my pantry, but I don't think I've ever bought it at the grocery store. It's incredibly expensive. So while I am fully on board with learning about and trying to implement natural processes in mental health care, I mean, that's kind of what my whole page is about, is that connection between nutrition and mental health. I think we still have to be realistic about what information we're sharing and what advice we're giving. I would not tell my patients who are really depressed and maybe their antidepressant isn't as effective as they wanted or they're having side effects, oh, let's just switch to saffron. Like, how is that going to help anybody? Who can afford to be gobbling down spoonfuls of saffron every day? Not to say that that's like information that I'm going to keep from patients necessarily, and here I am sharing it on the internet. It's just to say that that's not the most helpful advice and not the most realistic next steps in most people's care plan. So, like, I did learn something new today, but it's also not going to wildly affect the way that I practice or the way that I live and the way that I eat and cook in my own kitchen either.